When you picture a Jamaican vacation, you probably imagine pristine white sand. But in recent years, those same shores have become physical battlegrounds. Millions of visitors fly in every year to enjoy the island's famous beaches. Yet, Jamaican citizens find themselves increasingly locked out of stepping foot on their own sand. Successive governments have allowed private developers to enclose the shoreline, meaning access to the water is strictly reserved for paying hotel guests. Now this spatial discrimination has triggered 5 simultaneous civil lawsuits, legal challenges that threaten the foundation of the country's multi-billion-dollar all-inclusive hotel industry. For local fishers, losing access to the coast means losing their food supply. When the beach is cut off, generations of livelihood are wiped out. Then there's the cultural toll. Elderly residents rely on mineral springs, where the mountain water meets the ocean, for medicine, while Rastafarians use the shoreline as a space to meditate and connect with nature. And for working-class families who can't afford expensive hotel passes or trips abroad, the beach is their primary, necessary outlet for basic relaxation. Treating the shoreline as nothing but real estate severs Jamaicans from their own geography. Cut off from the sea, citizens are finding radical ways to fight back. The legal foundation for the privatization of the coast goes back to 1956, when Jamaica was still a British colony, with the passage of the Beach Control Act. This diagram shows how the act works. It took the foreshore and seabed, placing them under strict state ownership. The government then issues exclusive licenses to mega-resorts, building an invisible legal wall keeping the public off the sand. Officials argue that this system protects the tourism sector, which is the backbone of the economy. The industry directly employs over 112,000 people and supports hundreds of thousands more. The government points to new development approvals that require sea corridors for the public, but activists reject these as breadcrumbs left to the total discretion of private landowners. By keeping the 1956 Act in place, the state prioritizes foreign capital and corporate enclosure over the basic spatial rights of its citizens. To counter this, activists like immunologist Devin Taylor and his organization, Jabbem, shifted their strategy. They moved from physical protests on the sand to a highly coordinated legal offensive. They found their leverage in an even older piece of property law, the 1882 Prescription Act. This animation illustrates the threshold. According to the Act, if a pathway or piece of land has been continuously used as a public access route for at least 20 years, the public gains a permanent legal right to it. Activists are now gathering generational evidence. By proving their grandparents fished, swam, and walked those exact routes, they trigger that specific legal threshold. Local citizens have taken a 19th-century property statute and turned it into a modern battering ram against state-sponsored privatization. The state insists that forcing hotels to open their beaches would cause costly reputational damage, but that assumes a thriving tourism industry requires exclusion. You only have to look across the Caribbean to St. Lucia to see a different model. In St. Lucia, the law mandates that all beaches must remain completely accessible to the public, and their tourism economy continues to boom alongside that local access. Instead of a battle for economic survival, the conflict in Jamaica reveals an entrenched business model that refuses to share physical space with its own citizens. These 5 pending lawsuits treat the coastline as a legal testing ground for the definition of the nation itself, contesting who Jamaica is actually built to serve. When access is based entirely on paying to enter a resort, it reinforces an older dynamic. Black Jamaicans are treated strictly as a workforce to service foreign luxury, rather than citizens with rights. Advocates are pushing a simple argument. The people who live in a tourist economy possess an absolute right to leisure. A nation's natural wealth cannot exist solely as an export. The people of Jamaica are inherently entitled to experience the beauty of their own home.